What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ken Paul channel, and it is another F1 weekend, and we know how it's all going to go. We're not going to deny that. But I just wanted to... I was going to make some predictions, on when Verstappen could seal his third world title. And the earliest he could do it by is Monza. With Verstappen having a 69-point lead, Verstappen will have to win the next few races. He'll have to win Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, and Netherlands. If he wins all 5 of those, he will match not only Sebastian Vettel's record, but the only way for him to finish it by Monza is that Checo will have to DNF in those 5 races. For every time Sergio Perez completes a race, and he gets a decent amount of points as well, that will add on 1 race. So, I'm thinking Verstappen could clinch the title by Japan again. And that seems possibly the most likely outcome. Given a 69-point lead, if I had pen and paper, so 69-point lead. If Checo DNFs 5 times, if Checo DNFs all the times before the summer break, Verstappen's going to have nearly a 200-point lead, which there's only 250 points up for grabs within the last 10 races. However, if one of those races gets cancelled, Verstappen will only need 1 more victory, and he is sealed the 3rd world title. That might be a bit of a miscalculation, but there is about a total of 260 odd points. Verstappen will be about 80 points away after the summer break, so he would get Zandvoort, Monza, and Singapore. And then he would have to score a podium in Japan. But that's only prior he wins the next 4. If Verstappen DNFs in any of those races, or fails to get a podium, that will close his gap. Because there was a 146-point gap difference. I have a reason to believe that could happen again. So far, 69-point gap. So it's not... I would say it's not as a... Actually, was it as a dominant gap? I think it is. I think it's a bit more. Because I think by the time we got to Silverstone, I think it was about a 46-point difference. But Verstappen did have a couple shit races. He did have a 7th place in Silverstone. And he had... Well, he got 2nd place in Austria. But Charles was just lucky. Even with a fucked up brake pedal. That was an Ayrton Senna in Brazil. But, so, my predictions is that Verstappen will clinch the 3rd world title either at Monza, Singapore, or Japan. That is my prediction. But even though Alonso has also had the same amount of podiums, but he has only clinched 2 2nd places. But he's only missed out on 2 podiums. So, given the fact, Alonso's average position is roughly about 3rd or 4th place. So, that's actually not bad. And when Alonso said that would be the last race he would fail to get a podium, I think he kind of predicted that one right so far. But it's Red Bull turf this week, and we know what's going to happen. Verstappen has won at the Red Bull Ring the last 4 times. This could be his 5th one, which is looking most likely. But, however, there is a cause for rain, which could happen. But it might not. There is a cause for rain at the Red Bull Ring. Qualifying is supposed to happen at 4 o'clock today with an 11 o'clock sprint qualifying. But, as we saw from Baku, Charles Leclerc does seem to be pretty good. So, could we see a Ferrari in the top 3? Could we see a Red Bull 1-2? Recent races, highly unlikely. But last year there was there was a total of 5 race winners, and in total 7 people got on the podium. There have been exactly the same amount of podium sitters. There's been Max, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, Alonso, Charles and Ocon. So there has been the same amount of podiums. I reckon we could get an 8th podium sitter. But I definitely know that whichever race this year, whichever one that could be, if Alonso does get another victory, that will definitely be the best race of the year. So far this decade, the best race of the year in 2020 was Turkey, 2021 was Monza, last year it was Silverstone. Could we end up seeing another great Silverstone race? Highly unlikely, because I just don't believe that it's going to be a good... It's not even going to be a good season. This is basically 2002. Actually, no, this is a kind of a 2002 cross between 2014 and 2016. Like, it's kind of cross between. But it's got that 2002 vibe, basically. But this is 20 years on, and this is basically the 4th time we are seeing someone dominate. Verstappen already... If he wins every single race, he could surpass Sebastian Vettel by the end of the year. He could mostly surpass Alain Prost by Circuit of the Americas. Actually, Circuit of the Americas, what are we on, round 10 now? But Mercedes' record, if anyone wins, Red Bull cannot beat Mercedes' record. Mercedes' record is currently 19 out of 21. Right. If anyone who isn't Red Bull who can win, Red Bull can't beat it. I reckon they could pull out 19 wins. But given how one race has been cancelled, so 22, so I expect... Could Mercedes win in Hungary? That's my prediction. The two best qualifyings I would have said so far this year have definitely been Monaco and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, that was the only time Verstappen wasn't going to... He started 15th, still finished 2nd, but still, Checo's king of the streets. Checo is king of the streets. The 5 major street circuits: Singapore, Monaco, Baku. It's Singapore, Monaco, Baku, and Jeddah. Those are the ones. I wasn't going to count, if it would have been 6, that means we're including Miami and Australia, but also tracks I consider as classic: Spa, Silverstone, Monza, easy. I consider those as all-time classics. Like the proper old schools. So we have the proper old school circuits, but then we have the minor old school circuits, which that includes Interlagos and Circuit Barcelona. But we've had Circuit Barcelona. It's Red Bull Ring. Red Bull Ring has had a couple of decent races. Not the one in 2020 and 2019. Those were pretty good. But going back to a Max Verstappen thing, I have watched Max Verstappen win since his 6th win. I saw his first win. I saw when he won in Spain. I didn't watch his 2nd, 3rd, 4th or 5th, but I did watch his 6th. I did watch him win his 6th race, and I've sent every single one on. Max Verstappen is the only driver who I have seen, properly win. This is basically the Max Verstappen era / Ayrton Senna. But I don't think Verstappen's done yet. I reckon Verstappen could get... I would be surprised if he could do 5-time world champion, maybe get the 5-time, maybe in 2026. I reckon he can get 5, but I don't think he can get 6. Because I reckon, we need a George Russell era, because I reckon George Russell is next down the line. I reckon George Russell, potentially, I see him as a 3-time world champion. Max, 4-time world champion, definitely do a Sebastian Vettel. So I reckon he'll win next year. But, of course, we have had... I think Fangio holds the record. No, Schumacher and Fangio hold the record for the most consecutive world champions in years. Are they those two? I think they are. But, of course, Schumacher had 2001, 2, 3, and 4, so he has had 5 in a row. Hamilton hasn't even had that. Hamilton's only had 4 in a row. But I reckon prediction for this weekend in overall, we could be seeing Max Verstappen, Alonso, and Hamilton. World Championship podium. I thought at the beginning of the year we were going to see Max, Perez, Alonso. It was looking for certain. But like, if Verstappen has one DNF, I reckon Checo could claw back a win. But if there is one track I want Verstappen to get a grid place penalty, it's Zandvoort. Even though it's his home track, and it's hard to overtake. I want him to start from hopefully 16th. Because there's only one main straight. There's only one main straight on Zandvoort. Even though he trains there. But still, one main straight, and that is it. But you do get quite a launch off the final corner, so. But Hungary, I'm not expecting him to full throttle down the main... Well, the Red Bull can only manage like 1 or 2 bits of main straight. All the corners are going to be tricky. But still, that's when we get to the Hungaroring in 3 weeks. So next couple weekends, we've got Red Bull Ring, we've got Silverstone, and then we got Hungaroring. I'm not looking forward to the Hungaroring. I dislike it. I really dislike the Hungaroring. There's like not really any overtaking opportunities. Like, it's basically like, it's not like a Monaco, but it's a Monaco Brazil cross. Right, the reason I say Brazil is because last year I noticed the track it hasn't changed. I know it's a good track, but Brazil could be soon, I reckon, could be losing its touch. Like, Brazil and Silverstone have been the classics, but I think Brazil could be on the verge of losing its touch. But we'll see when it comes to it. And Las Vegas, who's going to be up for 6 a.m? As I will. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Good old 13 minutes. Shall see you all in the next one. Goodbye. Enjoy the weekend.